Every morning I get up, let the dog out, collect the newspapers from the front porch, and then start the coffee machine. And every morning when the coffee is done, I run into a problem. I like my coffee nice and hot, and I'd like it to stay as hot as possible for as long as possible, which is why when the coffee is brewing, I pour hot water into my mug to warm it up first. But when the coffee is ready, I hesitate. Should one put the coffee in the cup first and then add the cream, or should the cream be added to the cup first? Which is better? This, believe it or not, is a serious issue in the world of thermodynamics. We have to consider things like blackbody radiation, conduction, convection, evaporation, the specific gravity of the cream versus the coffee. It's all very confusing. And there are other variables. The initial temperature of the coffee, the initial temperature of the cream, the difference between the two, and of course the ratio of coffee to cream, and whether or not sugar or sweetener is involved. But all I really want to know is, if I'm concerned about keeping my coffee as hot as possible for as long as possible, should I go with the cream before or after I pour the coffee? I did some research. In a system with two substances of different temperatures, heat will transfer faster from the hotter object to the colder object. This means if you put a cold cream in a mug and then pour coffee on top of it, everything will get slightly cooler immediately. But that's good, because once the cream is cooled the coffee slightly, the rate of energy transfer from the cold cream to the hot coffee slows, and that means the average temperature of the drink will be somewhat warmer over the life of the cup. I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you're into lingering over a nice hot cup of coffee, put the cream and the sweetener in first. It probably won't make that much of a difference, but at least you'll be maximizing your thermodynamic chances, right? So there you go, a secret about coffee. And now some secrets about rock.
This is The Secret History of Rock with Alan Cross.
Hello again, I'm Alan Cross. There's a better than even chance that you're listening to me on a radio right now. You could be using the on-demand player at thesecrethistoryofrock.com, but if this is the initial broadcast of this program, you are definitely using a radio. We tend not to give radio that much thought, do we? I mean, it's always been there. It's easy to use. There are radios in the kitchen, in the bedroom, in the bathroom, in the car. We hear the radio wherever we go. And radio never, ever sends us a bill. But how much do you know about the thing that you're listening to me on right now? We're going to spend some time on that subject, and I think you'll find the history of radio rather interesting. For our look back this week, it's 1987. We'll get to our usual dose of useless information. And I want to start with some legal troubles. Not you, not me, just some musicians who have ended up in strange legal situations, often not of their own doing or of their own fault. The thing about lawsuits is that everyone can turn themselves into a victim, even when they did something dumb. The case that a lot of people cite is the one where the woman sued McDonald's because her coffee was too hot. Her name, by the way, was Stella Liebeck. She was 79 when she had her oopsie at a McDonald's in Albuquerque. My favorite is the dude from Michigan who bought a case of beer, drank it, and then sued Anheuser-Busch because no beautiful women in bikinis materialized for him like they seem to do in all the TV commercials. Or there was the guy who sued Michael Jordan because he looked too much like Michael Jordan. Being mistaken for the basketball star caused him all kinds of stress, so he sued Jordan and Nike founder Phil Knight for promoting Jordan. Guy wanted $842 million in damages. So you see where I'm going with this? Let's begin. Peter Jeffrey was a music historian at Princeton University, and he specialized in Gregorian chants. On January 25th, 1997, he went to a Smashing Pumpkins concert with his 12-year-old son, and he found the show to be very, very loud. After the show, he sued the Smashing Pumpkins, along with Virgin Records, the venue, and the city of New Haven, Connecticut, for ruining his hearing. According to the lawsuit, even the earplugs he wore were not enough to protect his hearing, which, as a music historian, is essential to the performance of his job. Mr. Jeffrey concluded that the band, the venue, and the city allowed music to be played above a safe decibel level, thereby subjecting him to excessive noise. And for good measure, he also sued the manufacturer of the earplugs. The lawsuit sought $15,000 in damages. Never did find out what happened. On the other hand, I do know what happened with the next case. A man named Mohammed Farona went to a show on U2's Pop Mart tour. He claimed that he lost 75% of his hearing in his left ear and 49% of his hearing in his right ear after security guards dragged him into a restricted area right next to a speaker tower. This happened on July 14th, 1993. That's his story. The promoter's story is that this guy snuck around a security fence into this restricted area on his own. Therefore, standing too close to the speakers was his choice, and it was his own fault that he damaged his ears. Whatever the truth, the fact of the matter was that the promoter didn't have any warning signs posted. Signs that might have said something like, standing too close to a 100,000-watt speaker system in the middle of this concert may damage your hearing. Well, that was enough for the judge, ruling in favor of Mr. Mohammed Farona. He was awarded $34,000.